Hello folks, I'm Craig Ripley and welcome to Living Off the Slab. Those of you who have been following my YouTube channel know that for the last 6 years I've been riding my 2009 Victory Vision. This bike has taken me all the way across the country, out to Arizona, up through the national parks, to Sturgis, back home, up to Nova Scotia, and just this year we went down to Tennessee. So I've got about 53,000 miles on the bike right now as we're speaking, and probably by the end of the year I'm going to be pushing that 60,000 number. Yeah, 56, 57 probably. So even though the bike is maybe getting a little bit long in the tooth for some people, I expect that I'll get another at least 50,000 or more out of this bike before I decide to trade it in on something else. At least that's the plan right now. We'll see what Victory comes out with in the future, but right now I see no reason to trade this bike in. My wife and I really love riding it. It's comfortable for us and it really works well. However, even though I really love this bike, I've been thinking about trying to get into some different styles of riding. So with that in mind, I've been thinking about getting a second bike. And I've been looking at the adventure touring category of bikes because I think it really would fit my needs perfectly. One, I want to continue to do, long touring rides, and also I want to be able to maybe get off-road just on occasion. Mostly, like most people who buy these kinds of bikes, I would be riding it on road, but I want it to have the ability to go off-road if I wish. Now, I fully admit that I am a newbie when it comes to adventure touring bikes. Right? I have read about them, I've watched Long Way Round and Long Way Down, and seen what Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman could do on these bikes, but I really have never ridden one. All of this is going to be completely new to me when choosing this new bike. But let me tell you my criteria for choosing the bike. First of all, I want this bike to be comfortable. Right? I'm going to get out and I'm going to do long days, on the highway on this, and I'm going to want to be comfortable. I don't want to hurt at the end of the day. My second criteria is that this bike needs to be reliable. Right? I don't want a bike that I'm going to have to worry about breaking down or have to worry if I can find parts and so forth while I'm out on the road. I want this bike to be solid, so I don't have to worry about it. So 3, this bike has to have cruise control. Right? Like number 1, I am going to be out there riding on the road for long distances. I want the bike to be comfortable, and I want it to have cruise control so that I can do, a 500 or 600 mile day on the highway if I need to get to my destination. Okay, so 4, I want this bike to have enough power to get out of its own way. If I get out there in a situation where I need to make some maneuvers quickly, then I want the bike to have the power to do that. I don't want a slug. On the other hand, I really don't need a bike that has so much power that I'll never use it. Right? If the bike can go out there and cruise at 75, 80 miles an hour all day long on the highway, then that's really what I'm looking for. If it can do 100, 120 miles an hour, then again, that should be plenty for me. I don't need a bike that goes 140 or 150. I just will never use that. All right, and lastly, I want the bike to handle well. Right? I'm going to load this bike down with a lot of gear, plus me on top of it. It won't be for my wife. She won't ride this kind of bike, and I don't want her to ride on it. I want this bike to be a solo bike for me. But I want this to be able to handle well. Right? If I want to throw it into corner, I want it to do that. I don't want it to be, a pig. I don't want it to be tough to get into corners. Now, with me giving you that wish list, I understand I'm probably going to have to make some compromises here when I choose the final bike. I understand that this kind of bike is all about making compromises. It's about finding a bike that does a lot of things very well, but it doesn't excel at any one thing. Right? It might handle well, it might have the power that you want, it can carry the loads that you need and be very comfortable, but there are always going to be bikes that do those individual things better. I like my Victory Vision. It's extremely comfortable. I'm probably not going to find an adventure touring bike that I'm going to be exactly as comfortable on as I will a big fully loaded touring bike. So now here's the other thing about buying a bike for me, is like everybody else, I have a cost ceiling. Right? There's a certain amount that I don't want to go over when I'm buying a bike. Now, honestly, I don't know exactly what that is yet, because I want to get the bike that I want, but it can't be extravagant. And for me, that's probably going to be in that $22,000 range. If I have to go above that to get the bike that I want, well, I'm probably going to compromise and probably going to get something a little bit lower than that. Okay, with all that out of the way, all the criteria that I'm looking for, here are the bikes that I've narrowed it down to in choosing this new adventure touring bike for myself. So first, it's going to be BMW's GS 1200, right? The bike that was ridden around the world by Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor. Right? This is, by many people, this is considered to be the best bike ever made, right? It does everything well. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of motorcycles. A lot of people consider it. So I've got to take a look at this. Second bike on my list is the new KTM 1290 Super Adventure. Now, why do I pick this one over the 1190? Well, primarily because the 1290 comes with a cruise control. I'll be honest with you, that I am not going to buy the 1190 without a cruise control, even though it is probably the best off-road adventure touring bike that is currently made. The third bike I'm looking for is Yamaha's Super Tenere, right? Particularly the ES edition with the electronic suspension. Figure for the additional $1,100 that it costs, I might as well go all the way and get the electronic suspension and the heated grips. Don't want to do without those. Fourth bike is Ducati's Multistrada for 2015. It's been completely redesigned with the new DVT engine, and it really looks nice, and I'm interested in checking it out. And the fifth and last bike on my list is the Triumph Tiger Explorer XC. I got to take a look at it too before I make my decision. So, okay, everyone, what do you think? Am I making the right choices? Are these bikes that I'm choosing the ones that I should be looking at? Do you think that I've excluded something here, or that some of my rationale for choosing these bikes isn't sound? I want to hear what you want to say. This will be interesting to me to basically take you through this process as I'm learning about these kind of bikes. I've learned a lot so far, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot as I'm going forward. I'm really looking forward to riding these things. I know that there's not a bad bike in the bunch, so I'm going to have a blast riding them all and testing them all out. And then, of course, I'll have to use my criteria to determine which one I eventually choose. Right now, I don't know. I really just don't know. I'm going to test ride all of them, or as many as I can get my hands on anyway, and then eventually make my decision. So stick with me, watch my videos, and you can see as I test ride each one of these things, and we'll find out which one I choose in the end. Oh, and folks, if you like what we do here on this channel, please subscribe, tell your friends, follow us on Facebook, and you can check out my website at www.livingofftheslab.com. I'm in the process of revamping it, so hopefully that will be coming out soon. But please, tell your friends, and also, if you have ideas that you want to hear discussed here on Living Off the Slab, then by all means, send them to me, and I'll do my best. If I can cover them, I will be happy to do so.